What is up, guys? Jordan Anderson here, and welcome to another episode. Tonight is part 2 of a week-long series. We're talking about pricing our elopements, and this whole week is dedicated to on your journey to becoming an elopement photographer. So, I have told myself that I'm going to try to do this entire episode, this entire lesson tonight in under 10 minutes. And I'm going to start the clock right now and see if we can get going with this. Thank you guys for watching the first time you're watching. My name is Jordan Anderson. I do a pricing workshop every now and then. I'm a pricing coach for wedding photographers. If you are a wedding photographer looking to up your rates, make more money in 2021, double your revenue, then this is the YouTube channel for you. So hit likes, hit subscribe, and let's get on with the lesson. Okay, pricing elopement. And hopefully you get to travel to some amazing place like this fiery volcano. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about 3 things with pricing your elopement. The first one, Monday we talked about making the switch. Tonight's lesson is pricing structures that we're talking about. And then Friday's episode in 2 days, we're talking about branding the lifestyle, branding your brand. Lesson 2, pricing your elopements. Here we go. You ready? I'm ready. So let's let's start with this. I wrote big letters right here. And this is going to be like the biggest problem that you're going to run into this year, or at least on your transition into becoming an elopement photographer, is this idea that the size of the wedding should dictate the budget. Of course it does dictate the budget, but then that also trickles down to dictating your budget as a wedding photographer. People think, okay, there's less guests, there's less head count, there's less plates I gotta fill, there's less whatever occupancy. So the guest list is smaller, so that means the wedding itself is going to cost a little bit less, and then people kind of keep translating that logic down. They keep doing the A plus B plus C all the way down to the wedding photographer, and they look and say, well, they start to, I'll just say it, they're going to try to gaslight you. Your customers and clients are going to try to gaslight you and say, well, since our wedding is smaller and we have a smaller guest count and we have less guests, it's I think it just makes sense that the budget for this photography should be smaller. And we're looking in the prices you just you handed over, they're really out of our range. It's not your problem. Right here, tight budgets aren't your problem. We talked about this a while back when it comes to a minimum level of engagement. And this is your starting price. This is I will not talk with you. I will not start this engagement. I will not shoot this session. I will not book you as a client unless you can meet this minimum level. And especially with elopements, because there's going to be some travel involved, and we're going to talk about that here in the next slide, that there's travel involved. There's a lot more on your end as a photographer, a lot more that you're going to have to pay for in order to cover your costs, in order to still keep doing basically the same thing you were doing in the traditional wedding world, where you may have just been driving 1 or 2 hours. Now you may be flying. Now you may be driving. Now you may be staying in a hotel. You may be having all these extra steps. So it actually is going to cost a little bit more and not less. And I put here at the bottom, your value prop hasn't changed. Your value proposition, you are still a wedding photographer showing up, capturing memories, solidifying these memories for life that these couples, these families are going to look at for the rest of their life. And that doesn't change. Whether or not it's on a mountain or in a church or at a big venue or in a vineyard, your value prop has not changed. the oohs and ahs. All right, let's talk about perks. So that this is the what attracts people to becoming an elopement photographer is that you get to travel, you get to see the world, you get to kind of, the client is kind of paying for your travel, and you're just kind of, hitching a ride and getting this kind of free ride across America or around the world, maybe if you're lucky. And it does have perks because sometimes you may get flown first class, you may stay in a really nice hotel, you may have all your meals paid for, you may have all your travel covered, and that might feel great, and that might feel like you're being taken care of, but it becomes a job pretty quickly. I mean, maybe the first 3 projects feel like this, but as a filmmaker who has traveled on the road, who has done, I've done years where, I was on a plane at least once a month, maybe twice a month, if not more, and it can get very exhausting after a while. And the kind of allure, the kind of perks, the travel lifestyle, the nomad lifestyle, I'm living out of a suitcase, living out of a hotel room. It's fun, but then it starts to wear on you a little bit, or it can get lonely sometimes. It's life on the road. So you are traveling. You're not on vacation. You're here to do a job. You're here prepping. You're still stressed out. You're still plugging in the batteries in the hotel room. You're still, trying to find your coffee spot before you have to go over to the wedding to shoot the photos. Like, there's still all that stress involved, and after a while, the allure kind of wears off. So I don't want you. The reason for this slide is like I don't want you guys to get sucked into thinking like, okay, I'll discount my prices because wow, I've always wanted to go to the Bahamas, and wouldn't it be great? And look, I'm basically getting a free trip to the Bahamas. All I have to do is shoot a wedding photo session. Oh, that's easy. That's like half the day, and the other days leading up to it and after that, I can just be on vacation. Don't think like that. Please don't think like that. It's fun, and yes, it could happen, but don't think like that. And then finally, let's now get to the hard stuff. Let's talk about cost and value. Again, your value proposition has not changed. There's going to be You're still showing up, you still has your camera, you're still editing photos, you're still delivering photos, you are still capturing these memories for these clients for the rest of their lives. So that value proposition has not changed. What has changed are the hard costs that you are going to have to factor in as a photographer, as a business, to figure out, can you afford this trip? Can they afford you to come on this trip? So let's talk about that. With travel, I want you to start to think about a couple travel policies. I put riders here. I mean, I know you're not like some musician or like Billboard, top 100 charts music artist that you can say like, here's my rider. But it helps to start to, and you may just have to do this through experience, but you are going to have or want or need certain things that come with the way you travel. Maybe you need at least, they may need to pay for the ticket, or they may need to pay for hotel, or they may need to cover your meals. I put travel policies. One that always stood out to me, or the one that I always did in traditional wedding world, was I would put in the contract, like, you must provide a meal for me and my crew on the day of the wedding. Like, we are not going to bring our own lunch. We're not going to bring our own dinner. We're not going to leave the wedding venue and go travel and get a meal and come back. You have to provide it for us. And like, if you don't, that's a violation of the contract. So things like that. And I put down here church and state. This is it's like, I'm still debating this, even as I'm teaching this right now. I put church and state, meaning like, does the client pay for your travel and you don't ever see those costs, and they just, everything's taken care of, and they just hand you the ticket, they hand you the hotel reservation, they hand you the rental car keys? Or do you say, you know what, no, I'm going to take care of that. I'm actually going to book my own travel, and I'm just going to charge you a travel fee? I'm more on the side of, you should stick to booking it yourself, managing all the travel yourself, and then just sending the client a kind of flat fee. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. So we'll look right here. Biggest thing right here is that we will refuse to work at a loss. You should not be breaking even with this travel cost. Because there is the travel cost itself, but then there's also the unexpected fees that you're going to run into. And then there's also the fact that you're kind of acting as a travel agent. You're kind of, this is a service that you're rendering. to book travel, to make sure this all goes into it. So you have to pay for that as well. Like, you're paying for your time to manage the travel, if that makes sense. I put example, like I want you to kind of think of it like this: double everything that you do. So if you book $500 airfare, the client's going to pay $1,000. If your hotel's $500, they're going to pay $1,000, and on and on and on. Just kind of double it all the way down until what you're paying is, say, for this example, $2,200. You're going to send them a $4,400 travel fee, but this is the catch. This is the problem that I saw on a lot of video production shoots I went on, that you would keep all your receipts, keep all your reservations, and then you would send it at the end. Like the company I used to work for, they would send all their travel receipts to the client, and then the client would pay us back based on what we actually used, or what hotels, or how long we stayed, or what meals we ate. Instead, just send your client a flat fee. If you have estimated all this stuff, if you think that this travel is going to cost you about $2,000, then you probably need to send your client a $4,000 travel fee, but it's going to be two separate things. There's going to be your travel cost, your travel fee that you're going to charge your client, and then there's going to be your wedding photography fee. So whatever they choose. So when you kind of present this to your client, you're going to send them the wedding package. You're going to show them, okay, choose the options 1, 2, or 3. And then after that is all figured out, then you're going to submit your travel fees. So, okay, based on, because every location is different. They may be staying at some resort that costs a lot of extra money, or they may be wanting to stay somewhere really exotic, or they may want to do international travel. And then there's factors that you have to figure out yourself when it comes to how much that's going to cost. So charge a client a flat fee and never show them the breakdown. Never show them how much you're actually paid for. Okay, yeah, like if it costs $1,000, okay, charge the client $1,000, for example. But if you can book something for less than $1,000, if you can book something for $500 or $300 or $400, that's money in your pocket, and the client doesn't need to know that. So don't show your client your entire breakdown. Do not show them this whole fees, the charts right here. Don't show them any of this. Just show them the one flat fee travel cost. That's it. Okay, 10-minute timer's up. Thank you guys for watching. Let's recap real quick. So the myth of small budgets. Small budgets are not your problem, and just because they are having a smaller wedding does not mean that their photography budget or your photography budget or expectations should be smaller. Keep it like your value prop is still the same. Whether this is a traditional wedding or an elopement wedding, you are still delivering an amazing memory, an amazing experience, and capturing those moments for the rest of their life. The allure of travel will wear off. Do not get sucked into the destination or the place that you're going just because it's someplace exotic or international or beachy. Do not get sucked into that and say, like, okay, well, I'll charge less. And then finally, never work at a loss. You're going to incur travel costs. You need to keep track of all those travel costs that you book, that you estimate, but never work at a loss, never break even with travel costs, because there's the travel cost, there's the cost to, or the amount of time that goes into managing the travel, and the easy rule of thumb is just double your costs. So if it costs you $500 to book a plane ticket, charge your client $1,000. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. On Friday, we're finishing this lesson of elopement photography with, I put it here, branding your brand. We're going to figure out how to brand your brand. That is going to be the lesson on Friday. We're going to figure out, okay, now that we've got our kind of the internal business stuff figured out, we've got our mindset figured out from Monday's lesson. On Friday, we're going to talk about how to externally project to the world, to show the world, to start working on a marketing strategy that's going to attract clients that are looking for elopement photographers. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Jordan Anderson. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on Friday. And if I don't see you on Friday, I'll see you on the next one.